Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Sage02 in Love, here with another Aew Dynamite review. It was a strange episode with a lot that was going into it, but it kind of underperformed. It was still a quality show, but nothing really huge came out of it. But nonetheless, I hope you thank you for joining me today on the podcast. If you're new, like and subscribe. Click on that bell. We'll be going over the whole episode today, as well as going over some of the things that happened over the weekend, Impact-based related, but regarding some AEW stars. So that's what we'll first be going over. So, Hard to Kill was Impact's pay-per-view Saturday night, and in the main event, it was Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers versus the Motor City Machine Guns and Rich Swann, in which ultimately, of course, Omega and the Good Brothers came out on top. And last night, or Tuesday night on Impact, we got another little enticing opportunity by Private Party, who showed up. Private Party and Matt Hardy showed up on Impact Tuesday night. Matt Hardy, of course, has had many years with TNA/Impact, so it was his return, but he came with Private Party. He came up with the dilemma that Private Party faced off against James Storm and Chris Sabin. Alex Shelley, I'm guessing, got injured or for some reason couldn't be there. So it was Private Party versus Chris Sabin and James Storm to determine the number one contenders for the Impact Tag Team Championships. And lo and behold, Private Party won with help of Jerry Lynn, who was there, along with Tony Khan. And Private Party won, and they will face the Good Brothers for the Impact Tag Team Championships. When? I'm not sure, but it's an interesting matchup to look out for. So with that being said, now let's get over to the AEW side, the AEW review. So the show started off with, it was the birthday bash seemingly for Broly Jr. So the Dark Order was there with Broly Jr. There was a table set out with a cake. They sang happy birthday to Broly Jr. prior to their match, and Chaos Project came out to interrupt. Luther and Serpentico came out, interrupted the celebration, and Luther said that they were going to ruin his birthday. So then it got into a brawl with the Dark Order. TH2 came out, and then Hangman came out because he was teaming with Dark Order. Dived on all the competitors at ringside, and thus began the matchup of Dark Order and Hangman on Page versus TH2 and the Chaos Project. This was kind of a cluster of a match, not really much went into it. The story of the match was after, would Hangman accept the invitation in the Dark Order? But this match was okay. In the male match, it was kind of a strange spot. So Alex Reynolds got on Hangman's back in like a pigback like position, and then John Silver's got on Reynolds' back, and it was like a piggyback like drop on Serpentico from near fall. Was some good double team by Dark Order, Colt Cabana, and Hangman. But at the end of the match, it was a power bomb by Hangman to Evans in the crowd, which took out Jack Evans. Then Luther, he was fighting on the stage area. He was thrown into the cake. So he was taken out. Then in the metal ring, it was a buckshot lariat combination German suplex for the win. After match, Brody Lee Jr. got his revenge. He hit Luther in the head with a kendo stick. Or I believe it was Luther. And then Brody Lee Jr. was like, "My birthday was 3 days ago, you idiots." And then 10 took Brody Lee Jr. away. It was a good moment, I would say. Then, back in the ring, Silvers, Reynolds, and Colt Cabana were all asking, "Now, Hangman, what do you join the Dark Order?" So, Silvers got on one knee and asked Hangman, "What do you join the Dark Order?" And Hangman was like hesitating at first, but then Hangman said, "I can't." So then it went on the Titantron, the whole he said yes. Apparently there was cowboys coming out of the tunnel ready to congratulate with Hangman as if they thought he was going to join. So the whole Dark Order held it off and was like stunned. And Hangman said, I tried to hold off for months and months, but you guys kind of forced me into it. And the whole group thing didn't work out for him. So he apologized, took a bottle of something out of Sue Grayson's hands, and then left. So I'm not sure where this goes. Maybe the Dark Order attacked Hangman. I'm not sure where this could lead, but yeah. Fun moment though for Brody Lee Jr. hitting Serpentico in the face with a candlestick. So then we had a backstage interview with MJF and Chris Jericho. They were being asked about their main event match for the Inner Circle. And MJF clearly said that he's Christopher and I'm Maxwell and we are better than you and you know it. So they were confident, obviously, that they will win and they will be a future AEW World Tag Team Champions. So then Sting had something to say to Darby Allin. Congrats to him. So Sting came out, then Darby Allin came out. Tony Schiavone introduced him. But Sting, he congratulated Darby on, said that Darby reminds him of him. And then all of a sudden, Team Taz came out on the Titantron and were like, oh, fair schmear, something like that. That Sting took a baseball bat and attacked Ricky Starks. Now they're street fighters and they wouldn't see him in the streets. So then they laid out a challenge for, I would say, a street fight between Team Taz, Darby Allin, and Sting. And Darby said, be careful what you wish for because you just might get it. So, challenge being laid out by Team Taz. Darby Allin, Sting have accepted, it appears. When and where, I'm not sure, but I hope it'll be a cinematic match type. I'm not sure, but we'll see. Then we had what we thought would be a meeting of the elite. So, or at least we thought. So, the Young Bucks came to Kenny Omega's house and were expected to meet with Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers, it appears, I would say. So, Marvez was also there. Excuse me, with the camera on. So, Young Bucks came in and Nakazawa came out of an elevator, looked like, or came out of a room nonetheless, and he introduced the Young Bucks, lured them into like a living room, and there was like a weird frame picture of Kenny Omega and Don Callis' face is photoshopped. Sorry, there was music in the background, but it appears to die down. Sorry about that. So anyway, the Young Bucks, were met by Don Callis. He announced that Kenny Omega was not gonna arrive, and that the Young Bucks were pissed how Don Callis kind of duped them. He kind of played it off, and they were like, "Where have you been? Where we have been with Kenny all these years?" And Callis was defending himself, and afterwards, that was pretty much the segment, and that won't be the last we saw of Don Callis. Apparently, the Young Bucks gave him a black eye. So, but a weird development. Apparently, next week we're gonna get the Young Bucks and the Good Brothers in 8-man tag team action. So, strange development, because we saw 2 weeks ago how they met in the middle of the ring to end the show with a too sweet sign. And last week, the Young Bucks were duped. So maybe there's some sort of swerve type of situation. I'm not sure. But we'll see how it develops next week in the 8-man tag team match. So then we had Peter Avalon, who apparently, has this new pretty gimmick, which is strange to say the least. Just strange. He's been using it for a while. He and Leva Bates broke away kayfabely. So Leva is still the librarian, but Peter is channeling this pretty gimmick, which is just odd. So he faced off against Cody. Cody, for the last few weeks, he's been using this remix version of his theme that was remixed by Snoop Dogg. I'm not into it. I'm just not into it. Changed from the original. Now, this is probably part of the Big Show. I'm not sure, but I'm not into it. So Cody came out and it was a long match, a longer than it needed to be. So Jake Cargill came out and distracted Cody and the referee. Peter Avalon got the advantage with a low blow. And from that point on, he got his advantage. Had some offense in. Back from the break. Cody Cutter. Figure four by Cody. Avalon taps. Too long of a match. Cody, Peter Avalon. It's just went longer than it need to be. So then, and apparently next week we're gonna get Cody responding to Shaq's comments from a couple weeks ago. I just want this to end. I just don't get this whole Cody, Randy, Jay Cargill, Shaq crap. I just want it to end. Cody deserves to be doing so much better. No offense to Shaq, but he, as far as pro wrestling goes, it's just garbage. Anyway, so next we had FTR being confronted by Jurassic Express. Jungle Boy said that what he realized in the ring last week that he could beat any of you guys. And Dax Harwood laid out the challenge, saying he will fight Jungle Boy next week. That he doesn't need Tully or Cash, and Luchasaurus will be at ringside to make sure nothing happens. So we got Jungle Boy for Dax Harwood next week. Should be an interesting match between two halves of two of the best tag teams in AEW right now. So then we had Jon Moxley first make his in-ring return for the first time since losing the title to Kenny Omega December 2nd against Nick Comoroto. So this was, Moxley, we know how he is. You couldn't find a better opponent. I'm just okay. Camarado. He looks like a big guy. He looks like a good athlete. He has a big fro, but his first match on AEW Dynamite, he's in the ring with Jon Moxley, the former AEW World Champion, and he had some offense on him, and it's confusing. It's just, I don't know how to put it. It's just confusing. But Moxley won with a rear naked choke. Camarado, he had a big slam. He had some offense in, but for a big man, still just didn't make sense to me. But apparently in 2 weeks at Beach Break, we're going to get Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers versus Jon Moxley, Pac, and Rey Fenix. So, nice match to look forward to on Beach Break. So then we had Matt Sydal and Top Flight, who by looks alone, look like a unique six-man tag team match or unique trio. And with the talks of trios championships coming around, this looks like a sneaky contender to be trios champions in AEW if those titles are being made. So they face off against Matt Hardy and Private Party, who, like I said earlier, are the number one contenders for the Impact Tag Team Championships. This, until the ending, wasn't much to look forward to. I mean, Top Flight, obviously, they're young, they're exciting, high flying. Matt Sydal, we know he's a veteran. Matt Sydal and Matt Hardy are both veterans. They both have faced off before, they have experience. Private Party, I mean, you can kind of see in their last few matches, they've been getting a more serious side added to them, a more physicality. And this ending was interesting, to say the least. So, Mark Quinn and one of the Martins were exchanging on the top rope, and then Isaiah Cassidy on the apron had a chair and hit a chair shot to the gut of the Martin brother, and Mark Quinn had a look on his face like surprised, but at the same time joyous. And Mark Quinn hit his beautiful shooting star press off the top rope for the win. And afterwards, there was a beatdown on the other member of Top Flight and Matt Sydal. And it looks like Matt Hardy and Private Party are now a heel trio. And I like that because Private Party, you know, they're obviously young, they're fresh, they're an exciting new tag team, but they've been kind of lacking something. And with a personality change, this could be the extra push that they need to further themselves and interesting development. So then we had Layla Hirsch versus Penelope Ford. This was, there were a lot of matches on the show that I don't think needed to be there. And this is kind of one of them. So, Penelope Ford, she won with a crooked pin. And, after match, it was strange because Chuck Taylor, he's been delegated to the butler of Miro. So he came out in a tuxedo, holding a towel. So Orange Cassidy, he was watching at ringside, and Miro made Chuck Taylor look to Orange Cassidy and say Miro is his best friend now. So Orange Cassidy walked away, and clearly we're gonna get a Miro Orange Cassidy match in the near future. I would say interesting match, but the story going into it is very strange. Just strange altogether. So then we got the main event after the Elite, Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers had an attack on Pentagon backstage. So then we got to the main event, triple threat tag team match, Santana Ortiz versus Sammy Guevara and Jake Hager versus MJF and Chris Jericho. This was chaotic, really, towards the end. Just strange. Bunch of spots, everybody moving in and out, kind of sloppy. A springboard cutter by Sammy Guevara. Sammy Guevara was I would say, the MVP of this tag team match. He is really honing into his craft. There were sink dives by Santana Ortiz on the outside. Sammy hit a Poison Rana on MJF. Hit a Spanish fly, a beautiful Spanish fly off the top rope to Ortiz. Jericho, he tried to use the bat, but he was kicked in the face by Hager. Then MJF tried to use the ring. He got decked for his efforts by Hager. Then a senton by Sammy. And then, JR pointed out, and I was looking at the time, and it was very strange. Because at the end, MJF, he was about to be hit with the GTH by Sammy Guevara, and Sammy Guevara went face to face with Wardlow, and then MJF rolled up Sammy Guevara for the win, and then 5 seconds later, or 10 seconds later, the logo goes across the screen, and just like that, Dynamite's over. So, AEW's had this problem in the past, and it showed once again. Too many matches on the show, not leaving enough time to breathe at the end of the show. Because, I mean, it was the finish, and just like that, the show went off the air. I mean, there were some matches that didn't need to be on here. And, I mean, Pierre Avalon and Cody Rhodes, that went longer than it needed to be. Jon Moxley and Nick Comoroto, longer than it needed to be. Matt Sydal and Top Flight for his Pride Party and Matt Hardy. I mean, I kind of get that match, but Leo Hirsch and Penelope Ford didn't need to be on here. I mean, just some unneeded segments, and it kind of was strange. The other thing, too, is Chris Jericho. There was a point where it was a power bomb by MJF, and Jericho went for a lionsault, and he slipped, it looked like, and it was sloppy. I mean, there are certain moves, because, I mean, Chris Jericho's 50. I mean, I'm just like, why does he need to do these certain moves at his age? It's just, it kind of made me sad a little, because, I mean, for a decade and a half, I've seen Jericho hit that lionsault. Beautiful. And then when he botched that lionsault, it kind of made me just sad inside a little. I mean, there are certain moves she shouldn't be doing in his arsenal, and I mean, just strange. I mean, he can still wrestle, still do certain moves, but I mean, I don't think he should be doing a lionsault ever again, for his sake. That's just my opinion. But, so, MJF and Jericho won. So, my guess is this will lead to Santana Ortiz breaking away from the inner circle. That's what I think this leads to. But, I mean, overall, the show had some highs, but some lows. It wasn't a terrible show, but it was an underwhelming show. So, nonetheless, I hope you guys enjoyed the review. Next week, we got some good matches, quality matches. We got Lance Archer versus Eddie Kingston. We got Dax Harwood versus Jungle Boy. I mean, some fun matches to look forward to next week. But, again, if you're new, like and subscribe. Click on that bell for all your notifications as far as AEW reviews, sports, overview topics. You'll find it all on the channel. With that, thank you all. I'll see you Tuesday for another episode of Sports Overview Topics. Thank you all, and see you next week.